Sometimes, life feels like a crowded room, but deep inside, you're walking alone. This path you're on, it's yours, and yours alone. You'll find moments where nobody will understand your struggles, your vision, or the fire burning in your soul. And that's okay. Walking alone is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your strength. You see, the greatest transformations happen in solitude. When the noise fades, when the world turns its back, that's when you hear your true self. That's when you decide whether you'll break or rise. Solitude sharpens your focus. It strips away the distractions, revealing who you really are. There will be days when your legs tremble under the weight of your dreams. You'll question if you have what it takes to keep going. People might laugh at your failures or doubt your ambitions. But remember this: greatness is forged in struggle. When you're walking alone, every step forward is a victory. Every fall teaches you how to rise stronger. Look at the legends who inspire you. Every one of them had to endure loneliness, rejection, and pain before they reached the top. What makes you think your journey will be any different? Embrace the struggles. They're not roadblocks, they're stepping stones. When you choose to walk alone, you're choosing a path that many fear. People will question you. They'll tell you to play it safe, to stay in your lane. But you're not built for mediocrity. You're not here to fit in. You're here to stand out. Understand this: criticism is the soundtrack of success. The louder the critics, the closer you are to something extraordinary. Don't waste energy trying to explain your journey to those who can't see your vision. Silence their doubts with your actions. Let your results speak for you. Walking alone demands resilience. When the road gets tough, you need to become tougher. This is where self-discipline comes into play. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to do the work for you. If you want to succeed, you have to show up for yourself every single day. Discipline isn't about motivation. It's about commitment. It's waking up early when you'd rather stay in bed. It's saying no to distractions that pull you away from your goals. It's sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment. Resilience is built brick by brick, moment by moment. And when you master it, you become unstoppable. Why do you walk alone? What is it that drives you to keep going when others quit? Your purpose is your compass. It's the reason you wake up and push forward, even when the odds are stacked against you. Purpose is not handed to you. It's discovered. It's forged in the quiet moments when you're honest with yourself. What do you stand for? What legacy do you want to leave behind? When you find your purpose, it will light the darkest paths. It will give meaning to every sacrifice, every setback, and every solitary step. Walking alone isn't just about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about who you become along the way. Each step transforms you. Each obstacle teaches you something new. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that walking alone was the greatest gift you could give yourself. So keep walking, keep striving. Let the world doubt you, criticize you, ignore you. But let none of it stop you. You were born to walk this path. You were born to carve your destiny. Walk alone, and you'll discover a strength you never knew existed. Walk alone, and you'll find that the path less traveled is the one that leads to greatness. The lone wolf doesn't rely on the pack to survive. It thrives on its own instincts, its own strength, its own resilience. That's what walking alone teaches you: self-reliance. In a world where everyone looks for a helping hand, you become the one who helps yourself. Being a lone wolf doesn't mean you isolate yourself out of fear or rejection. It means you choose to rise without needing applause. It means understanding that validation is fleeting, but self-belief, that's eternal. Wolves don't beg for scraps, they hunt for their dreams. So embrace the lone wolf mentality. Be the hunter, not the hunted. When you walk alone, distractions fade. There's no one to pull you off your path. That solitude gives you something priceless. Focus. And focus is the weapon that separates dreamers from achievers. Look around at those who stay in groups, always needing others to feel secure. They're comfortable, yes, but comfort is the enemy of growth. When you walk alone, you see things others miss. You spot opportunities others are too busy gossiping to notice. Focus isn't just a tool, it's your competitive edge. Use it wisely, and you'll conquer mountains while others are still stumbling over pebbles. When you walk alone, you embrace silence. But that silence isn't empty, it's full of potential. In the stillness, you hear your true calling. You hear the voice of your ambition, and it says, keep going. You're almost there. Most people fear silence because it forces them to face themselves. But you'll learn to love it. Silence is where the seeds of greatness are planted. It's where you strategize, plan, and prepare. And when you finally emerge from that silence, the world will hear you loud and clear. Because your success will echo far beyond their doubts. Here's the twist. Walking alone isn't forever. It's a phase, a necessary chapter in your story. You walk alone to become the kind of person who attracts the right people into your life. The strong, the focused, the driven. They'll see your journey and recognize a kindred spirit. But you'll know the difference now. You'll know who's there to build with you and who's just along for the ride. Walking alone teaches you discernment. It teaches you to value quality over quantity. When the right people join your path, it will no longer feel like a crowd. It'll feel like a team. The gift of walking alone is the person you become. The strength you didn't know you had. The vision you didn't know you could see. The discipline you didn't think you could master. Every step alone is a step closer to the best version of yourself. When others finally see the results of your solitude, they'll call you lucky. But you'll know the truth. Luck didn't bring you here. The late nights did. The sacrifices did. The endless hours of grinding in the shadows did. That's the gift of walking alone. It creates a version of you that the world can't ignore. You didn't walk alone just to survive. You walked alone to build a legacy. To prove that one person with a vision is more powerful than an army of doubters. You walked alone to show the world that it's not about where you start. It's about how far you're willing to go. One day, people will look at your journey and say, I want to be like them. They'll draw inspiration from the path you carved, the mountains you climbed, and the strength you showed. That's the legacy of the lone walker. It's not just about your success. It's about inspiring others to find their own strength. Discipline is not something we are born with. It is a choice we make every day. I was not born extraordinary. From a young age, I had to dedicate myself to the craft of the Shinobi, to a path that demanded more from me than most could endure. Discipline was my foundation. It guided my hand, sharpened my mind, and strengthened my resolve. I chose to prepare, even when others rested. I trained not for recognition, but for the strength to carry out my purpose. This discipline was not for myself alone. It was for those I vowed to protect. Understand this. Without discipline, your dreams will remain just that, dreams. But with it, you will find the strength to turn them into reality, even when the odds are against you. Discipline will test you. It will demand sacrifices. But it will also make you stronger than you ever thought possible. And when the time comes for you to face your greatest trials, you will not falter. You will rise, ready for whatever lies ahead. I know what it means to sacrifice everything for a cause greater than yourself. I gave up my home, my clan, my reputation, and even the love of my little brother. People see sacrifice as loss, but I see it as necessary. True sacrifice is giving up what you want now for what the world needs tomorrow. There will be moments in your life when you must choose. Will you protect your comfort, or will you fight for something greater? You may lose friendships, you may lose recognition, and you may even lose parts of yourself along the way. But understand this, sacrifice is not failure. It is proof of your resolve. When you walk the path of sacrifice, you must carry its weight silently. There will be no applause, no gratitude, and often no understanding. But that is the price of doing what is right. The question is, will you be strong enough to pay it? A shinobi must learn to see beyond the surface. The world will show you illusions of happiness, of success, of validation. But these are fleeting. The truth lies beneath, and it is often harsh. When I made my choices, I saw what others could not. I saw the fractures in the foundation of the village, the conflicts that threatened to destroy everything I loved. To act, I had to let go of my desires and see the bigger picture. You too must learn to look beyond your immediate wants. What are you fighting for? Is it for yourself alone? Or is it for something greater? Clarity will only come when you silence the distractions of the world and look inward. In that silence, you will find your true purpose. Pain is a cruel but effective teacher. Every loss I endured, every burden I carried, taught me something invaluable. Pain shapes you in ways comfort never can. Do not fear pain. Do not run from it. Let it teach you. When you fall, let it show you where you need to grow. When you are betrayed, let it teach you resilience. And when you are left to walk alone, let it strengthen your spirit. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. If you can endure your pain, you will emerge stronger, sharper, and unbreakable. The greatest lesson I learned is that true strength is not loud. It is quiet. It does not demand attention. It simply exists. Humility is the mark of true power. I never sought to prove my strength to the world, only to myself. If you chase the approval of others, you will lose sight of yourself. True strength comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for, regardless of who acknowledges it. Remember this: it is better to walk alone on the right path than to be celebrated on the wrong one. Everything I did for the future. My actions were not for my benefit, but for those who would come after me. I knew that the seeds I planted would only bear fruit long after I was gone. Your life is your message to the world. What will it say? Will you live for fleeting pleasures, or will you build something that lasts? The choices you make now will shape the legacy you leave behind. Walk with purpose, act with intention, and when your time comes to an end, let the world remember you, not for what you took, but for what you gave. You may feel alone in your journey as I did, but understand this: Solitude is not isolation. It is an opportunity to discover who you truly are. Embrace it. Use it to sharpen your mind, to strengthen your heart, and to solidify your resolve. Walk your path with courage, even if it means walking alone. The world may not understand your sacrifices, your discipline, or your purpose, but one day, they will see the strength you carried all along. And when that day comes, you will know that walking alone was never a burden. It was your greatest strength. Every choice you make carries weight. It defines who you are and determines the path you walk. For me, the choices I made were not simple. They demanded sacrifices, understanding, and, most importantly, conviction. The world may not always present you with clear answers. Sometimes, you must decide in moments of uncertainty, and those choices will stay with you. The question is, will you make them with integrity? Will you choose what is right over what is easy, even if it means walking a path others would never dare tread? Do not underestimate the power of your decisions. Small or great, they shape the legacy you leave behind. Make each one count. Solitude is where growth begins. In isolation, you face yourself, your fears, your doubts, your weaknesses. It is here that true transformation happens. Many avoid this because it is uncomfortable, even painful. But I urge you, do not fear it. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil. It must remain alone, in darkness, to grow into something magnificent. You are no different. Let the stillness of solitude be the soil in which you grow. Learn to rely on yourself, to draw strength from within. That is how you become unshakable. What do you see when you look into the future? Do you see a vague idea of success? Or do you see a purpose so clear it burns within you? A person without vision is like a traveler without a map, lost and wandering. In my life, my vision guided me through the darkness. It reminded me of the peace I was fighting for, the lives I wanted to protect. Even when the path was uncertain, my vision gave me clarity. You must find your own vision, something worth fighting for, worth sacrificing for. When you have that, no obstacle will seem insurmountable, and no loneliness will feel unbearable. Responsibility is not something to be feared. It is a privilege, a sign of trust. I bore the weight of my clan's fate, of the village's peace, and of my brother's future. These were burdens, yes, but they were also sources of strength. To walk a path of responsibility means to carry more than your own desires. It means living for others, even when it's difficult. It requires maturity, selflessness, and an unwavering commitment to your purpose. If you shy away from responsibility, you will never know the strength you are capable of. Face it, embrace it, and let it forge you into someone who can stand tall, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The world often celebrates the packs, the groups, the teams, the collective, but it is the lone wolves who change the course of history. They see what others cannot. They do what others will not. Being a lone wolf is not about isolation for its own sake. It is about having the courage to step away from the crowd, to forge your own path when others fear the unknown. The lone wolf does not wait for permission or approval. They act with conviction, guided by their own sense of purpose. The world needs people like you, individuals unafraid to walk alone, to take risks, to stand firm in the face of adversity. Will you be one of them? When I am gone, what remains will not be the battles I fought or the pain I endured. What remains will be the peace I helped create, the lessons I passed on, and the strength I left behind in others. Your legacy will not be defined by the moments of applause or recognition. It will be defined by the quiet impact you leave on the world, the lives you touch, the changes you inspire, and the strength you pass on. Do not worry if the world does not understand you now. Walk your path with honor, with discipline, and with purpose. One day, they will see the truth. One day, they will understand the strength it took to walk alone. I walked alone for most of my life, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. My path was one of sacrifice, discipline, and unwavering resolve. And though it was lonely, it was also fulfilling. Now I leave you with this. Walking alone is not a curse, it is a choice. It is the mark of someone who knows their purpose, who refuses to compromise their vision for the comfort of the crowd. If you find yourself walking alone, do not despair. Let it strengthen you. Let it teach you. And most importantly, let it guide you toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. Walk alone, but walk with purpose. For in the end, it is the lone warrior who leaves the deepest mark on the world.